Welcome to Billy Ho Sports. Thank you for tuning in. Please remember to subscribe to the channel and don't forget to like and comment on the videos. I hope you enjoy the show. Now, let's go. Hello there, Billy Ho here, and we are talking Bermuda Championship PGA DFS on DraftKings. I am joined by David, the DFS chef, and we are going to talk a little DraftKings action, take a look at some players, and see if we can't dig in and find a couple of low-owned, maybe some low-key, good plays this week. How's it going, Dave?
I'm doing good. Got in late last night. I was out of town. So the spreadsheet's done, but not fully done. I'll be adding the extra nuggets as soon as we're done doing the recording. So those people that get the spreadsheet will get the extra nuggets as soon as we're off of here.
All right. That sounds good. It'll give you plenty of time. Just a FYI on what we're dealing with. Billy Ho contest is out. So join links in the description. Weather report. Obviously, it's Bermuda and it's hurricane season. There's always a threat. They're talking tropical storm, winds, gusts, and all that good stuff. But basically, what you can do is try and wait as late as possible if you want to figure out any kind of weather stacks and just go from there. Because basically, what can happen to you is if you say, "Oh well, the PMAM looks good." Well, what about a 3 hour delay on a big rainstorm and gusty winds and then all your PM guys get pushed to AM Friday and have to try to play 36 holes. So you got a lot of different things. And what we're going to do is we're going to start it off and take a look at David's model. All right. And we are taking a look at David's stat model. And by the way, you can hit him up at the DFS chef on Twitter, and he will hook you up with this model. And it's just like $1 a week. And I think you can pay $25 and get the whole season. So pretty good deal. A lot of stuff in here. I was looking at some different things. And the one question I wanted to ask you, and I hate to spring it on you, David, is this estimated birdies tab.
Yeah.
I like how you got it set up here with all the holes to play, but the numbers, I don't know what they mean.
Okay. Yeah. What it is this is basically something that Rick was kind of fooling around with a little while ago, and I think he scrapped it, but I kept it from Rick Gaiman. He was attempting to try and calculate estimated birdies per round based on the par four, par fives, and what it is the distance that most of these guys hit on par fours and par fives, and what you're
Okay.
seeing there. What you're seeing there is the estimated yardage they would have on their second shot on these par fours and
Oh,
par four and par fives. So like if you scroll over, it'll show under 125, 125 to 150, 150 to 175. That's basically giving you your buckets. It's basically telling you, you know, where most of these guys are going to be hitting their second shots from based on the par fours and par fives.
okay.
So like if you look at it, it looks like the majority of these guys are going to be hitting their second shots from 125 to 150. And then obviously you'll have, on the par fives, you're going to be having the guys hitting it from like 200 plus. And then next to that in the green, it shows you their birdie or better percentage based on what it is. How many, like you can see Denny birdies like 25.3% of the time when
Okay.
he's like under 125 yards, and that's what it does. And then it does the final calculations, and it gives you their estimated birdies per round. Um,
Not bad.
like
I like that. I hadn't looked at it before, and then I clicked on it after you sent it to me, and I was like, "This is kind of interesting. If I know what these numbers mean, and
yeah,
I get it now. Yeah, you got the estimated the percentage of birdies and what kind of shots they might hit, and it's kind of a decent little angle.
yeah. I mean, it's kind of like the course preview is what is the best way I can describe it. I do the course layout obviously with the yardage and the par fours, and you know a lot of courses will have a lot of courses I do throughout the year. Underneath the yardage, we'll have like the plus or minus on the hole, like how easy the hole is, how hard the hole is. But we don't have shot length data here, so unfortunately, I don't have that. I think maybe Fantasy National has might maybe have the the difficulty on each hole, but unfortunately, I don't since there's no shot length. But typically, most courses are going to show which holes are easy, which holes are hard, and it might give you an advantage on showdown when you see like 3 or 4 holes in a row that are real easy birdie holes. So I like to use it for showdown, and then like I said, it also gives me a good range of the proximity.
Right.
I've
Yeah.
I've
What
never
kind of shots that the guy you like can hit? I get it.
yeah I've never really messed around with the estimated birdies too much. I think I've tried it maybe once, like in a showdown round, to see like okay, like what is it? Seamus Powers estimated for like almost 4 birdies per round. So like maybe if his round one or round two scoring average is really good, and he's showing that he's supposed to make 4 birdies in a round estimated, then I might try it every now and then, like in a showdown round. But I haven't used that too much.
Okay. All right. Good to know. All right. Well, go ahead and get us going. I see your model here is listing some of these top dogs, and it's kind of saying maybe you shouldn't fade the 10K range. But I like some of the guys up here, and I want to know what you think. So let's do like a 9K and up
Yeah,
type of thing,
I
and
mean,
give me some guys you might like.
sure thing. I mean, I'm still basing this off of last year's stats. I'll kick it over to 2023 probably after next week's tournament. I'll start using the 2023 stats, but as of right now, we're still using the 2022 stats. So that's where you're getting some of these grading out on the top on the model is based off of last year's stats. And this is almost like a first look for me since I didn't get to dive in deep last night. But in the 9K plus, um, recent form is a bit shaky, and I'll start from the bottom and work my way up. Uh, the course history format is really good here. So in a GPP, I probably would you know take some looks at Russell Knox. You can see what he does here. I mean, this is the 4th year this tournament's been played here, and every single year he's top 20'd it. So I think in GPP, because of his recent form being shaky, I would go GPP with him. Steven Yeager to me seems more cash viable than Russell Knox, and I do like him. Grayson Sig grading out well. I'm still kind of on the fence with Sig as of right now. I probably am going to want to dig in a little bit deeper on Sig. Smalley grading out a little bit better. Uh, Luckily for us, the CJ Cup was in the States, and all these guys are not coming from overseas because typically we're used to the CJ Cup being played in Korea. So Smalley, I do like. SH Kim not grading out well, but that's because we don't have stats on him based off of last year. He didn't look great last week, but I think that this course might suit him a lot better. He's not long off the tee. He does rely on his around the green game and his putter, and I think that's where he kind of excels. So SH Kim is intriguing to me. Um, Patrick Rogers still got to dive in as of right now. I'd probably be on the fade train as of right now, but like I said, I got to dive in deeper. Um, I think out of all these guys, my favorite play might just be Justin Lauer. Um,
Interesting.
I've been riding him the last several weeks. He did play here last year. He finished top 20, grading out 5th in my model. But what I like about him is going over his last 36 rounds, he's positive in every strokes gain metric. So I do like that a lot. Hubbard obviously is grading out number 1 in my model, and he always grades out well. He's kind of along the lines of like Luke List always used to grade out well in models, but Luke List
Russell
is a guy.
Henley kind of guy.
Russell Henley always grades out
Yeah.
really well in models, and then they seem to always let you down. I know that what was it? I think it was like the Barracuda or one of those tournaments last year where Hubbard graded out really well, and then like he was chalk, and then he wound up not doing a damn thing. So Hubbard to me, even though he's grading out numero uno for me, I prefer Lauer. I do like Aaron Rye, Seamus Power, who's grading out second in the model. His recent form's been shaky, but I want to say that this should be a course that he does really well in. And then obviously we're on Bermuda, and when we talk Bermuda, Denny McCarthy, probably the best putter in the field here, and one of the very best putters on tour, rating out third in my model. I do like McCarthy. Moronk is a good Euro player. He had done well in a couple of those alternate field events, like the Puerto Rico Open, and I want to say the Barracuda. I just don't know if I want to pay 10-3 for him. And then Detry is a good golfer, but I would prefer to probably go down to McCarthy over Detry. So as of right now, I think that's where I'm at in the 9K range. Lauer being my favorite, though.
Okay, I'm kind of with you on that point. I kind of looked at a few different things and put a few things together before this, and Denny rates out pretty well. This is just kind of what I come up with, and these were models I ran off Fantasy National, and it was people, just kind of like a top short courses, sub 7,200 yards, and wind positive over the last 2 years. I just went windy AF there. And then I mentioned this in my preview video was low apex ball flight, which is just how high the ball goes off the tee. And I thought, well, if I could find some guys that are, lower to the ground, they'll be able to skirt this wind. And then I started going through the list, and you see what I came up with. I got like 20 guys, and I was like, well, they all got low apex ball flight. But Denny is a good wind player, so I like that. I don't have him listed here, but Denny can play in the wind, so I do
Yeah.
like that about him. And up top, Seamus Power. If you guys watch or listen to the Tour Junkies, they're they're fun to listen to, but they're also quite knowledgeable because they have ties to the golfing community, so they know a lot of caddies, they know a lot of golfers, and they had a caddy on instead of the Dave Barnett, and he was talking about Seamus Power, how he's been struggling with his irons, like you mentioned. So he was off Seamus Power. He said this is not the kind of course you go to get your irons straightened out. So, and I agree with that because I mean, with the wind and undulations, the fairway is uneven, and the things of that nature. So I kind of tend to agree with that. 10,200 is kind of high price. Although Seamus rates out really well on short courses, he rates out good in the wind. So it is kind of like pick your poison. Aaron Rye, I was with you on as well. It's just I tell you what, these prices are really hard to stomach. If Aaron Rye was 8,500, he'd be smash central, but it's going to be hard for me to get to him at 10-1. So Justin Lower is really playing well. I'm with you there. My dude Nick Hardy, I think can play well here. He might be more of a longer hitter, but the thing that I'm seeing on this course is like short game prowess kind of thing. And guys like Patrick Rogers can play well here. S.H. Kim, going back to Tour Junkies, he was talking about the caddy for S.H. Kim. And this guy has bounced around a few other dudes, but the guy that's caddying for him now is has been helping him immensely, and you can see the results. He caught on with him before the fall swing. So I think I might have some S.H. Kim. Smalley, I was on last week because I thought the course would play tougher, and it didn't really. It was kind of wild how many birdies and how well that they played that course at Congaree. Cold in the morning and everything, and they were just I really they went a lot lower than I thought. I always loved Jaeger. Russell Knox, I wrote this down, and it was the shittier the weather, the more I like him. So if it's windy and it's raining and it's crappy, I'm all over some Russell Knox because I guess that's just what he thrives on. And he has improved putting. He used to be god awful at putting, Robbie Shelton is what I'm hearing a lot about. And I kind of equated Robbie Shelton with Scheffler and Morikawa and all those guys a couple of years ago when they came out, and it just didn't click for Shelton. So he had to regroup. He had to go back to Corn Ferry. He had to work his way back up. He took 15th at Shriners, which is not bad. 21st at Fortinet, which it's not a comp course, but Fortinet's a little bit of a shorter course. So it kind of parlays me into the 8Ks and a couple of the guys I like here, and that's Nick Taylor and Adam Shank. I feel like are core plays. I like Adam Long, but he just, I don't know. There's something with his game that just kind of shorts me a little bit. So I'll keep my eye on Adam Long. I think ownership's going to dictate. If it plays really, really hard, I like Will Gordon. He's a grinder. He's not a big, like if it was a 18 to 25 under, he's not getting there. I can't go Benny on here. He's just too unpredictable. I got him right once at the Fortinet, and I'll take that and run with it. Some guys down here, and what we were talking about is really Callum Tarrant any worse a play at 8,200 than Moronk at 10-3? I don't know. I mean, Callum Tarrant has had some really good results on the PGA Tour. He had 13th at Sanderson Farms. The guy can play. And the last guy I'm going to talk about, I'll kick it back over to you for you. You can go into 8K and then dip into sevens. EVR, he clicked in a lot of categories and things of like short courses, win positive. And this is over 2 years, but he's still not a bad player. I always call him Eric Van Ruin your lineup if you play him, but his problem is off the tee. And I don't think he's going to have that difficulty this week because of the shorter course. I think he can just whack a 3-wood out there and get after it. So this might be a good week for EVR to get his name back in the records as a play. So what are you looking at in the 8 and the 7K range there, Dave?
Yeah, and the eights. I mean, there's a couple guys I can even understand completely fading the eights. And like we were talking about before we started, you know, this field, obviously, we know the strength of field is not an elite strength of field. So realistically, this tournament is wide open. I mean, anyone can win this damn thing this week. So you could probably see lineups leaving several $1,000s on the table and still do really well this week. But yeah, Adam Long, you would think on paper this should be a course that suits Adam Long's game really well. He has been a bit up or down right recently. I mean, he was someone I used a lot last year, and he made a good amount of money for me last year. But as of right now, he's kind of shaky. This might be the perfect week for him to kind of bounce out of it. I'm with you. I do like Adam Schenk this week, and I also do like Will Gordon. Callum Tarrant, like you mentioned, I don't know what you're seeing, but at least from what I'm seeing, from the place I get projected ownership on, I'm showing Callum Tarrant to be kind of chalky in the 8K range. I'm actually showing him at like 19% projected ownership right now. And honestly, if he's going to be that high, I will probably be on the fade train with Callum Tarrant this week. I can't see going field average or even above field average to get extra momentum uh, with him. So if he's that high, I'll probably wind up fading him, which kind of leads me down into the sevens now. Um, and looking at the sevens, it is, believe it or not, it's actually from at least from a first look perspective that I'm getting at right now. There's a lot of guys that I'm kind of questioning right now. They always mention like finding fairways is important here, but at the same time, I read Andy Lack's article and he looked at like the guys that finished in the top 10 last year. The majority of the guys that finished in the top 10 last year were guys that bombed the hell out of it. But then in 2021, the majority of the guys that were in the top 10 were guys that were finding fairways. So, like I said, this is only the fourth year here. So I think it kind of dictates whatever the weather's going to do.
Exactly.
So, you know, this could be a course where it doesn't really matter. You know, you could probably bomb and gouge this thing because I think we're talking like 2-inch zoysia rough. So I mean, it's not that deep of a rough where I don't think guys can get out of it, and it's a relatively short course. So I do think the bomb and gouge can work here. So I don't think you necessarily need to find guys that pepper the fairway on this course. So, you know, in the sevens, it kind of leads me, you know, maybe to someone like a Bryce Garnett who's seen this course before. He's played a couple of the fall swing events already this year, not with the greatest, you know, finishes, but he is someone that's intriguing to me, which also leads me to right underneath him when we talk coastal courses. Scott Piercy, at least in the past, in years past, he was always someone that I used to play years ago, and he's always someone that typically excelled on coastal courses. And that same year that Garnett played in 2021, Piercy had a top 20 finish. The crazy thing is Piercy, I think, if I'm not mistaken, is a Vegas resident, and you would think he would have done better at the Shriners, and he was terrible
Yeah.
at the Shriners. So, I mean, it's definitely, like I said, this week is going to be completely up in the air. Um, as we continue going down, um, it really is, you know, suspect for me as of right now. I'm definitely going to have to do some deeper diving on some of these guys in the 7K range. Um, but Kramer Hickok, who's had a good amount of success at this course by course history, but recent form once again very shaky. You know, 2 straight missed cuts, but maybe there are some guys that can miss 7, 8, 9 cuts, a la James Hahn, and
Right.
then all of a sudden come to a course that they love and wind up, you know, contending to win. And maybe that is Hickok at this course. Um, Lebiota is someone that might interest me. Um, and you know, other than that, probably Nate Lashley, even though he's never played here, but he's done fairly well. And if you would think Brian Stewart would do better at a course where they talk about trying to hit fairways, but as you can see, like I mentioned,
Not too good.
yeah, maybe that's not the case where you need to pepper fairways. And you would think a guy like Stewart, who typically does pepper fairways, would do better here. You know, he hasn't. So that kind of probably lowers my interest there. So as of right now, those are really, at least from a first look perspective, those are the guys in the 7K range I'm looking at.
Yeah, and I completely agree. What I've been hearing from the industry and what I've noticed myself, like I said, I said it in the preview video. I said this is one of the few tournaments that off the tee is almost, it's probably the weakest stat line it'll be, because it's not really like I did in this model on Fantasy National. I just went with good drives. If they hit the fairway or if they don't hit the fairway, that they hit the green in regulation. And I always like greens in regulation, but I rarely use scrambling. But when I saw the last 3 winners, they were top 10 in scrambling. Short game is like I emphasize this more than a lot of things. I wanted to see eagles because there are eagle opportunities. And then I went, well, it's a weak field event. So I want guys that can avoid bogeys. So I threw that in there as well. And, you know, there's a winner on your PGA tour. What makes Robert Streb a worse play than one of these $8,500 guys? I don't know. I mean, Streb, he rates. There was a couple of models that I ran, and I got to check down here to make sure. Okay, this is the wind model, and I just went windy and over the last 2 years. So Scott Brown, Gachowski, you know, a lot of these different guys. Vajegas shows up at these events, and it's kind of like that. Ryan Armour, who's Brian Gay's brother from another mother. Brian Gay always has good form here. I really wish Peter Malnati was in the field because I would have loved to play him this week, but he has W Deed, so keep that in mind. And like you said, a bomber, Ryan Brim, you know, 6,200. If you like bomb and gouge, this is a win model on 16 rounds, and he's fifth in birdie or better. Gers gain, and I guarantee you, if you went distance, he's probably number one. Uh, but there was one thing I wanted to jump over here real quick and give a little love to Yahoo. And because we got some guys in the Billy Ho Discord, the shout out to the Flop House, Dart Hero, Jones Bow, guys like that play a lot of Yahoo lineups. So I wanted to take a quick look at some Yahoo, and I noticed down toward the bottom, if you're looking to shoot the moon in the $20 range, I got several guys that came up, and all these guys are $20 guys. Vaughn Taylor, who is good on short courses. Hank Labiota, who is great around the greens. I'm big on Labiota this week. Tyler Duncan, T Dunks is $20. Robert Streb, a winner on the PGA Tour last year, I think last year in the fall swing. He's a guy that I think can get it done. And then you get up here, and the limited field specialist has got to be the Birdman, Jonathan Bird. So keep an eye on him. Scott Brown showed up, and Robbie Shelton at $29 showed up. So I'm looking to get into this. I don't think this is just was an initial build. I do like Ryan Yeager, their prices and whatnot. But when you go up here and you're looking at the high end dollar guys, I'm not trying to pay $46 for Adrian Moronk and Seamus Power $48. I mean, that's just really hard to suck in. SH Kim has been on tour for about 5 minutes. Lucas Glover is kind of interesting because he's $40 here, but he is a lot cheaper than that on DraftKings. I'm thinking the dude's like 7,500, and I want to say I'm right. Boom, 7,500. And this is a guy who's team no putt, so that kind of sucks for him. He's a good ball striker. He can play in the wind. I'm not saying I'm playing him, but I'm just saying the price discrepancy was ridiculous. So I got a whole bunch of guys written down here. So it is, like you said, almost a first look kind of thing. And going through, getting down back to like price range type stuff in the sevens. Cam Percy always shows up in these events. I'm playing Sam Ryder because the guy just scores, and so does Chesson Hadley. So these two guys, I think I'm going to have in the pool. Down here a little bit, I'm going to avoid Ryan Armour. I know he's got some top tens here, but it just, yeah, I don't know. He just kills me. Down here a little bit more. I really would wish this guy would show up because he's all about some coastal, some wind. Charlie Hustle, Charlie Hoffman. Like I said, I think I will be playing Hank Labiota down here. And just to kind of finish off this 6K range, and then I'll kick it back to you to finish us off, Dave. I said I'm playing Bird because this is just Jonathan Bird territory. And Lashley rating out very well. I'm with you on that one. But Streb, Bird, and then down here a little bit more, Scott Brown and Von Taylor I have interest in. Basically, I'm playing guys that I know, veterans on the PGA Tour. You know, I don't know Tano Goya. I don't know Eric Cole. Harry Higgs seems like he would be like a really good play, but he hasn't been good in a long time. He does have a second in 20. So I don't know what I'll do with him. Down here, people know this name. Akshay Bhatia might be interesting. I'm going to let a lot, I mentioned Ryan Brim. I'm going to let a lot of this dictate ownership. So bring us on home, Dave. Who do you see down low here?
Yeah, real quick. Sub 7. I'm with you on Bird. If there's literally like 2 tournaments on the PGA Tour that you can play these 2 guys, and this would be one of these 2 tournaments that you can play these 2 guys. Brian Gay, you can obviously see from his course history. This is the course that you play Brian Gay. David Hearn, this is the course that you would ever play David Hearn, because you can only play those two guys maybe one other time this year, and that would be like maybe Harbor Town, RBC Heritage. So this would be that kind of course that you would play those two guys. And I'm also with you with maybe going to Scott Brown, and that, as of right now, that's probably it. Maybe a little bit of Camilo Villegas might spark my interest also, but Gay and Hearn, this is that course that you could play those two guys, because what, out of 43, 44 tournaments a year, you only have a chance to play those two guys, like I said, twice.
Yeah, exactly. I feel you there, man. And I think that's a good place to wrap it up. Appreciate you coming on with me, Dave. And as always, he's at the DFS Chef on Twitter. Hit him up for that stat model. I think it's pretty interesting. I'm gonna dig into it a little bit more a little bit later and see what's up with that. And don't forget the Billy Ho contest. I want to get that thing filled. We've been getting a little bit more love than the beginning of the fall swing, which is cool. I like when it gets up in the mid 30s at least. Then that way, the winner gets a nice little chunk of change. So until the next videos, this is Billy Ho signing off for David. Peace.